I used chessgames.com to go through every Alireza Firouzja game played in 2021, and for me, these are his top 5 sacrifices of the year. So in at number 5 is his game played against Mustafa Yilmaz in the European Team Championships in November of last year. So Firouzja has white here, Yilmaz has black and has just played rook to c8. So pressuring down the c-file here against this backward pawn. How does Firouzja deal with this? Well, he plays the amazing move pawn to a4. A stunning concept that you can push pawns in front of your own king like this when you're being attacked. What's he got in mind? Well, after pawn captures on b4, it looks terminal for white because the c-file's getting ripped open, black has all the pressure there. But this is where Firouzja unleashes a stunning move, and if you want to pause and look for it, please do so. So he plays queen takes on c6. Awesome stuff, because after the queen recaptures, he's taking this pawn back on b4. And now if you move the queen away, we pick up this rook here, and we've got 2 rooks for the queen. White is doing well, especially when you've got this passed pawn now coming. As it was in the game, Yilmaz took here, the rook recaptured. Now we didn't have those rooks exchanged off, the rook moved to the side and Firouzja generated a passed pawn. But even if the rooks came off, a passed pawn would be generated anyway. Firouzja went on to win the position. Now if you want to check out this game and all the rest in this sack list, then I'll link the playlist to all of the games on screen at the end. In at number 4 is this epic game played against Levon Aronian in Paris Blitz June 2021. And if you're enjoying this video, do hit that subscribe button if you're new here, never miss a daily upload. So Firouzja's just played rook to c2, the black queen nudged over to a3, and now Firouzja jumps that knight into f4. A very provocative move because you're walking straight into e5. Forking these pieces, and sure enough Aronian was enticed into this, not realizing that he was now opening this diagonal in a deadly way. So Firouzja came crashing through now with bishop takes on f7, ripping open the black king position. So the king recaptured and knight e6 check was the follow-up, check from the rook on f1. So the king moved away, the knight captured here. Now I won't go through all the variations, but Levon took in the centre. We had this exchange on c8, the bishop recaptured, and now queen h5 came. Coming in on these light squares, looking at f7, so knight d6 protected that square. We had a check on d5, and after the king moved away, we had this swashbuckling move, queen takes on d6. The queen has to recapture, and knight f7 check, picked up that queen here after the king moved. And so Firouzja just won an exchange and he went on to win this endgame. In at number 3 is another battle against Levon Aronian, played in the new Aimchess Classic, an online rapid event, and this was April of last year. So Levon's just played pawn to f6, leaving this g7 pawn on prise. Now Firouzja gobbles that one up, but gives Aronian some counterplay now because the bishop jumps out to h5, and not only is this piece attacked, but the rooks could be coming to the g-file soon. There's some pressure. So how does Firouzja respond? Well, he jumps in with this knight on f6. Now he's walked into a self-pin here, and after rook c7, his queen is also hit. So how does he cope with these various things going on? Well, the black king is stuck in the centre. So what's the follow-up here? Pause if you want to look for it. Knight e4 check was played. Fantastic move, ripping open the d-file, and then when a rook lands there, the king is lured up the board. This is the key. Pawn b4 check came, king c4, the king hunt is well and truly on. White jumps the queen back to h6, it's coming back round to the danger zone here. Black wasn't long for this world. Again, if you want to check out that game, please use the playlist at the end. At number 2 is a truly exceptional game played against Rapport, who had the black pieces in this game taken from Norway Chess 21 in September of last year. So normal here for white is to take this pawn on d6, white is doing decent. but instead Firouzja goes pawn to d4, and after recaptures, queen recaptures, he's walking straight into knight c2, forking queen and rook and picking up in the corner here. But after bishop f4, Firouzja said after the game, how can I be worse here? Yes, I've given an exchange, but look at my pieces, look at the black king, I must be doing well, because this wasn't home preparation. And sure enough, his judgment was correct. He built up an awesome initiative, went on to win this game. And if you're enjoying this video, do hit that like button. Let me know in the comments if you want to see the 2020 version of this. And in at number 1 is an absolutely bonkers game played against Wesley So in the Aimchess US Rapid in August of last year, another online event. So Firouzja has white here. He now played queen to d2, so he's walking straight into knight c5, knight b3, forking these two pieces. Well, what does he have in mind? So knight c5 came, now pawn to a5, he kicks the queen back so that now it's not on this diagonal and he can safely castle, but he's walking into knight b3. The queen moved away and black picked up the rook in the corner. But here's where it got really exceptional. Firouzja didn't recapture that rook. He played knight g5, going after the king. Now, if you try and save this knight here, then queen e4 is really powerful. You're threatening mate here. Say you block that with pawn to g6. Well, f5 is the really powerful follow-up. And this attack is just crashing through, basically. If you look at all the black pieces, they're stuck over on the queen side, not helping the defense of the king. Black is not long for this world. So Wesley recognised this. He didn't save the knight. Instead, he played pawn to h6, trying to kick away an attacker, but now knight to f5 came. And again, you can't capture this piece, or we have this beautiful Anastasia's mate. The king comes to the h-file, and we check and mate along the h-file here, using that knight supporting these squares. So that's why Wesley covered that e7 square here by playing queen to c7, and now Firouzja had an exceptional way to finish this game off if he'd spotted it. If you want to pause and look for it, please do so. So the move here is knight takes on h6, which you might have seen, but did you see all the follow-ups? It's not easy. After the pawn recaptures, then here's the key. The queen comes to g3. Exceptional stuff, because if the black pawn keeps gobbling up pieces, then we take back with the queen and the king is actually getting boxed in here. After these checks, it comes back to the g-file, let's say, and the rook lifts into the game. That's the key, and you're mating black along either the g-file or the h-file using those heavy pieces. If you enjoyed this video, then do subscribe to the channel to never miss one, and click here to see the whole playlist of these amazing Sac games. Thanks very much for watching, and see you soon.